Welcome to the third episode of Series 84, everyone. This month we have previous guest Satah with us to talk about two games kickstarting as one book, Galactic and Going Rogue. This episode covers character creation for Going Rogue, building off of what we made last week in our Galactic episode. But before we get to that, we do have some calls to action coming up after the show. Here's what to expect. You can join us here where we will have more information on the Galactic and Going Rogue Kickstarter, brief information about the upcoming One Shot Network Patreon drive, as well as information on our Patreon and how to leave a review for the show, as well as our normal patron thank yous. With all of that out of the way, enjoy the show, everyone. So with all of that in mind, creating a ragtag group of Going Rogue characters in this sort of setting would be really interesting.
I actually wonder if, like, this is a slight divergence from the plan, but I wonder if you'd be okay with if we segued into, could we just do two pillars of Going Rogue that are sort of like the new ones?
Oh, yeah.
Because they like... The Liberation in Going Rogue is split into the Parliament and the Intelligence, because this game is so much more about like the complicated politicking of the Liberation and that kind of thing. So I think if we could just do those pillars and then hop into character creation, that might give us like a better sense of where we're going.
Sure. Okay, so what are the two new pillars then?
Yeah, so first we've got our Parliament, then we've got our Intelligence. I'm just going to read the description of both, and then we will define them one after the other. Got the Parliament. A revolution is nothing without its democracy. The Parliament represents a diverse range of forces, factions, and commitments joining together to try to negotiate their differences and devise a plan that they can all share. At its best, the Parliament is a comradely collectivity and an example of how a more just galaxy would be governed. Sadly, democracy is not without its discontents. The Parliament is often slow to action, even when the situation calls for decisiveness. It can be conservative and conciliatory, aiming to keep the peace and avoid risk when only daring action can move the galaxy closer to freedom. At its worst, the Parliament is a wrench caught in the gears of liberation. For the Intelligence, a revolution is nothing without its might. It is the Liberation's spies that enable its small fleet to succeed against a vast enemy. The Intelligence is a clandestine network and messy hierarchy of burdened people who do whatever it takes to rid the galaxy of the mandate. At its best, the Intelligence can turn a guaranteed defeat into a galaxy-inspiring victory. Sadly, Intelligence work is not without its iniquities. It's possible to do great evils in pursuit of justice and difficult to walk that line without treading over it. Those in Liberation Intelligence position themselves to avoid oversight and accountability whenever possible and are not above hurting those with good intentions. At its worst, the Intelligence corrupts the ethical and democratic principles that distinguish the Liberation from the mandate. It's getting a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of what it means to make a revolutionary movement.
Yeah.
Let's do our Parliament. The tips for the Parliament are: remind the player characters of their responsibility to respect the desires of those they wish to liberate, communicate the diverse opinions and interests that must work out their differences to make a collective decision, and ask compelling questions about what compromises are worth it and build on the answers. We're going to choose 3 desires. The possibilities are guaranteed victories, powerful allies, strength in numbers, safety from retribution for the innocent, popular support for the Liberation, forces in reserve, peace through compromise, lengthy deliberation, ideological discourse, and a dream that never dies. And Going Rogue does specifically ask you to do these 2 pillars before character creation, unlike Galactic. So this is we're going into it with the amount of information we would generally have.
And we decided this is like kind of the same group, right?
Yeah.
So I think I find these interesting because like since like I created the diplomat, I feel like I like straddle that space. Like the character I made already straddles that space in between those 2.
Yeah.
You do a little bit too, say it with all your gossip and like
totally.
You've got the intelligence thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
looking at
my first thought was peace through compromise.
Ooh, okay.
Because the parliament is kind of stuck between trying to keep the peace for everybody that's,
yeah, you're talking about a slow-moving bureaucratic institution, right? Like, like this isn't our ideal parliament. And like, obviously, like my first instinct, having built my character, was like, obviously, we're not going to compromise. But it's like, this is parliament, the institution, not the parliament.
So sometimes they give way to the mandate to ensure peace in other areas, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, obviously, just one of the keys of politics in general is like maximizing gain, minimizing loss, like compromises.
And I think looking at, the desires we've made for the liberation generally of hope renewed and imagination for a better world, I want to suggest maybe popular support for the liberation, that this is like a faction that is like one of the things that we need is for people to believe in us and believe in those things. Which has its positives and negatives, right?
So I guess my question is like, is that a desire of the parliament? Is like, so like we as players obviously want the parliament to be like, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to find the word.
Like, is it the parliament or the people that the parliament?
Because that makes it sound like the parliament is one of the desires of the parliament is for people to also support the liberation. I'm just like wondering like where parliament sits as an institution in the middle of this liberation versus mandate situation. Does that make sense?
I mean, it feels like the parliament is like almost akin to the Galactic Senate in Star Wars, in terms of like each world has representatives and so on and so forth, right?
And so I'm asking if like picking this means that like in Star Wars terms that the Galactic Senate would be asking for popular support for the rebellion? Or
is it the people that the Senate represents, the popular support for the liberation?
Like whose desire is this? Like, does the institution itself siding with the liberation? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like,
I read it as it's the people. Like, even
the people that are represented by the parliament?
Yes.
I will say that this specifically is like the parliament is the liberation. The parliament and the intelligence are both the liberation.
Oh, okay.
It's just different factions in them. Mechanically, in some ways, it's literally just like this game splits the liberation in 2. So rather than presenting the sort of united force, it's meant to show like the push and pull of like you have your people who are like, hey, let's be careful. Let's make sure we all agree to this. And your people who are like, no, we need to act now. And it doesn't matter who gets hurt.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking too hard about it. Like the political scientist in me is like thinking too hard about this. It's like, what are we saying about institutions when we decide? Got it. Yeah. No, that I'm good with popular support.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
I think that makes sense.
All right. Then we need one more.
And I do like lengthy deliberation, which is kind of like they try to get things done the correct way, but there's so many voices that it takes a while for the ideas to become solidified as codified laws and whatnot.
I think if we were going that route, I think I would prefer to pick ideological discourse. Because I think the discourse is like the important part there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I think they're similar, but like, I don't think that like lengthy deliberations are like the thing that Parliament wants. I think it would just be, you know what I mean?
And
right.
Do you think that that would be okay? Like you pushed back against ideological discourse as a liberation desire. Would you be okay with it here? Or would you be more interested in looking at like one of the other desires that could lead to that kind of discourse, but isn't like specifically asking for it, if that makes sense? Like, you know, choosing guaranteed victories could create ideological discourse, because that would be like, what does it mean to win? What does it mean to know that we're going to win? When do we act? And that kind of thing.
These are hard because I feel like so many of them like stack on top of each other and are like so interconnected. Yeah, that's interesting.
I do think guaranteed victories could be interesting as a way to tie it into military strategy, because that both has like the pros and cons, where it's like, we are going to plan, we're going to act, but it also means like sometimes not taking opportunities if we're not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about it that way, because I was like also looking at like powerful allies, but I think like guaranteed victories kind of pulls on the things that I would want from powerful allies. So I think guaranteed victories, because I really do like that idea of like, we're not doing anything until we know for sure. And I think I think that also gets to Ryan's lengthy deliberation thing of like, until we've sorted out all of the pieces, like we're not doing anything until, which is why it would take time. So I think we get all of the things that we're wanting with that one. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the three of those
guaranteed victories, popular support for the liberation, and peace through compromise.
Yeah. All right. And our intelligence desires.
So not to like cause problems, does guaranteed victories and peace through compromise cancel out?
Oh, right. One of the ways that I was thinking about that was the idea of like, if we know we're going to win, we act. If we're not sure, we'll be like, oh, maybe there's middle ground here.
Yeah,
maybe we can
so almost like more stalling a little bit too.
Yeah, there's stalling, and then there's maybe also like
maneuvering to get the upper hand.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that could be interesting about that is it leads really naturally into like almost a hypocrisy, where it's like, why are we willing to compromise on this one, but we weren't willing to compromise on that other one? And someone's like, well, because we're going to win this one. And then it's like, that becomes the like push and pull of like, well, then why don't we just win all of them?
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. And who's deciding the standards for what a win is?
Yeah.
And okay.
All right. The intelligence.
Yeah. Ooh. Our intelligence tips are: remind the player characters of their responsibility to liberate those the mandate reigns over, and ask compelling questions that trouble the principles of players and their characters without being sure of the answers. And again, we're going to choose 3 desires, the options of which are a chance to turn the tide of war, leverage over liberation members, the heads of mandate officials, classified intelligence, sabotage, reduced oversight, secrecy, willing sacrifices, and to bear the heaviest burdens so others don't have to.
These are so good.
Yeah.
Oh, curse you, Jess.
I know.
And you can tell her I said so.
I do like willing sacrifices.
Yeah. That's especially interesting to me, given, talking about the Parliament wanting like popular support for the liberation, and talking a lot about like, how are the ways that we're how are we selling this? How are we getting people on board? The idea that this is also like, that shows a little bit of the darker side to it, where it's like, what can we do to make you ready to like give everything up for this, while also having the positives of like, we don't want anybody to get hurt who didn't know what was coming.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. And it goes along with the guaranteed victories. Like, we can win this if somebody can step up and sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, friends, is where propaganda comes in.
Says the diplomat.
Yeah.
So as a character who's like, the gossipy, I am leaning classified intelligence, but also leverage over liberation members. Both of those are really interesting.
I know. I was... Yeah.
And I know I'll be making a whole different person to interact directly with this, but just, for the through line.
I'm just like really intrigued by leverage. Like, not because I like in my heart, I'm like, this should be a desire of the idea, but because I'm like, I want to play with that.
I mean, that's part of it too, right? Because that's right. The other thing that like is
out of character. That sounds dope.
Because in a lot of ways, that's all we're doing in this is just like planting a bunch of flags that are like, this is what I want to come up in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a little roadmap to go back to and be like, this is what would you be okay with that, Ryan?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. So we've got 2. We have leverage over liberation members and willing sacrifices. This is starting to sound sketchy. I mean, I don't know if it feels like redundant to pick secrecy, because in my mind, like the intelligence, like it's like that's secrecy, and like the whole intelligence side of things should be secret. So like I don't know if that needs to be explicitly said, but I feel like that's a cool.
Like, you know what's really interesting to me about secrecy actually is like, because we've set up this thing where there's like, you know, we're looking for popular support. There's a diplomat who's going out and recruiting people. The idea that like there are members of this movement who are like, we need to stop telling people all of our victories. We need to let there be mystery. Like if we could be like, wow, look at this incredible thing we did, but maybe we should let them wonder who did it so that like we can like do it again without them patching up that vulnerability. Like the idea that there's a little bit of a like, hey, can we keep this a little more quiet so that we can get some more work done?
I also think it plays interestingly with that leverage over liberation members.
Yeah.
Like the secrecy of like, who knows what about whom, and like I think that allows some like inside politicking that is very interesting to me. You know, some good potential backstabbing if we wanted.
Yeah.
I also like the thought that they're keeping the willing sacrifices a secret as well. That these weren't sacrifices, these were losses in the call of duty. And they're not revealing the fact that they were actually, you know, sacrificial missions.
Yeah.
To guarantee a victory.
The like absurd piling double bind of like you like propagandizing your victory in a different, like being like not saying, oh yes, they were willing to go in and give their lives for that, being like, we lost good people today who didn't even know it was coming. This is how bad it's gotten.
Yeah. Can you believe the enemy would do this to these innocent people who didn't sign up for this? Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I think we've left a lot of fun gray spaces to play in.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And our listeners can't see my little happy dance over here. I'm like, ooh, morally gray areas.
So with that, I think we should choose some playbooks.
Yeah.
So playbooks in Going Rogue. There are 5 of them. I'm going to suggest that we avoid one specific one. It's really cool and also considerably more complicated. It is a playbook that has its own pillar attached, essentially. And I'll explain when I get to it, but I think that just for our purposes, it makes more sense to look at the ones that are a little bit more like what we were just doing.
Sure.
So first we have the Spy. The Spy is a skilled operator, highly committed but ruthless. Their power comes from their cunning, determination, and willingness to do whatever it takes. We have the Leveraged. The Leveraged is a non-believer compelled by circumstance. Their power comes from their outside perspective, their desperation, and their capacity to grow. Got the Knight Errant. The Knight Errant once served a cause and now searches for one. Their power comes from their experience, grit, and renewed passion. And we have the Convert. The Convert joined the Liberation recently and truly believes it can make a difference. Their power comes from their conscious optimism, energy, and luck. And the 5th playbook is the Loyal. The Loyal is a stalwart friend, difficult to win over, but unwavering in their allegiance. Their power comes from their tenacity, self-sacrifice, and uncompromising commitment to care for those they are bonded to. The thing about the Loyal is that when it is in play, you add another pillar. This pillar is called the Bond, and this pillar represents the relationship between one or more characters. It works similarly to other pillars in that it has desires and moves and that kind of thing. It's very, very cool. It is also more complicated than the other ones. And
I think if we were just doing this game, like we could get into it, but considering we also did Galactic, we should maybe keep it simple.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically we've got our spy, who is exactly as you'd expect from the title, essentially. You have the leveraged, who is somebody who is in some way being pressured to work for the cause. Got the knight errant, who is very much playing in sort of the like cynical, I've been involved in things before and it went badly. Why should I care about this one? I desperately want to. Give me a reason. And the convert, who is the bright-eyed, newly joined up person who brings a lot of the hope and the optimism. I talked a lot with Jess during the development of this, and I really like how she talks about it now, that when she was first making this game, she only really had the gritty playbooks, and at a certain point was like, I'm creating a party of just edgy loners, and it's really hard to get the game going and get them into alignment. And throwing the convert into the mix just provides really easy glue to a party, essentially, to be like, here is a character who will give you something to believe in and like balances things out. I don't think that that's as strictly necessary for our purposes, because if we want to make a bunch of edgy loner weirdos, that's fine. We don't really have to worry about how they will play nicely. So
it's sometimes nice to have an option that isn't 2 days away from retirement, though.
Yep, exactly. I would prefer not to do the convert, because I did the convert in the actual play, airing now on the One Shot Network podcast feed, on the One Shot podcast feed. So I've played that recently. But
I think Ryan,
did any of those hop out to you?
It's one of my top choices, but I have another top choice above that one, depending.
I would like to be the spy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay?
You would like to be the spy?
I would like to be the spy. Is that? I hope that doesn't ruin anybody's plan.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I was also thinking the spy, but I think I would go with the convert, because I think you would make an excellent spy.
Thank you. I'm known for being sneaky.
I'm going to go with the knight errant in that case.
That's exciting. That would be the other one I would have maybe picked for Ryan, but
it's
a little too cynical. So.
Yeah, very, very much so. So we're going to go through very much the same process that we did with the Galactic character creation. Choose some aesthetic elements, choose our style, and then we have a couple of specific character details. Same NPC stuff, and then we'll ask each other some questions.
Yeah, I want to just read off kind of the tips for mine too. So explore the tension between the mission, your comrades, and the ideals of the liberation. Feel responsible for the weight of the world and confront whether or not you are capable of carrying it. I feel like those were just really important. I like the tips. I feel like they really do kind of help you kind of hone in on what, not just who this person is, but what you're doing with this character.
I really appreciate that, because of what this game is, every single playbook has the tip. Remember that character conflict is not player conflict. Find ways to move towards shared narrative goals, even as characters disagree, because that is something that is really important to keep in mind if you're trying to tell a story in this system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that can be really difficult if you haven't played in a setting like that before, or in a game that kind of rewards that sort of behavior, for lack of a better word, I guess.
Absolutely.
Play style. There's a better word for it.
So I think that because we set up so much cool space between stuff in our Galactic conversation, I'm really leaning. I know that the Knight Errant has a lot of options that lean towards mysterious dark nova past. And I think I'm going to do that for instance, for choosing some of my style options. I'm definitely going to take a damaged but functional Astroblade.
Ooh.
You didn't have a mechanic to fix yours?
Yeah.
No.
When I learned that that's possible, that's going to change a lot for me.
I went with an earnest face and starry eyes.
Yeah.
And then for my style, glasses, an oversized helmet, and a sentimental token from my life before.
Oh, the oversized helmet.
Mm-hmm. Just doesn't quite fit.
No.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah. I think I'm going with scarred face and arresting eyes. And the other style stuff, I'm going to choose a uniform with the insignia patched over and an old tattoo.
Nice.
Is that true? Or I might, I'm going to swap one of those out. I'm going to take oversized sniper rifle.
Mm.
And one of the things, so now I have an oversized, I wrote oversniped, an oversized sniper rifle, an old tattoo, and a damaged but functional Astra blade. And I think what that says to me is that I was getting the idea that I was in some sort of like Nova army or military unit or something. And I was like frontline melee, had the Astra blade. And in the course of whatever's happened, I am now much more comfortable playing from behind. I'm a sniper. I'm somewhere like stationary and taking shots from afar. Whereas I used to be like really in the middle of things.
Mm-hmm. I went with an unreadable face and disarming eyes. And then I picked a hooded cloak because I, Amelia, cannot resist a hood. I just can't. Hidden pockets and an excess of belts.
Yes, the belts. Good. Okay. Then we've got our playbook specific details. For the Knight Errant, they are a cause you were once committed to and why you left. And then one principle you abide by, and one principle burning a hole in your heart. What are your questions for the spy, Amelia?
I have one principle that you have broken and one you will not break, and one that I sacrificed, and one thing that I'm fighting for.
Wonderful. And how about the convert?
With convert, why did you join the Liberation? And then one skill I'm trained in, and two that I want to learn.
Yeah, cool. There is an option for the cause that I was committed to that is an order of novas before I lost my closest comrade. I might choose that, but I might choose one, given that I already kind of know that I'm probably a nova, I might want to choose something else that like adds a little bit more to the backstory, though none of the other ones are super calling out to me. Though I love an organized crime family before they expelled me for my actions is great.
Love that. Love a complicated backstory.
Yeah.
I think I've got my details all set.
Yeah.
So why did I join the Liberation? I think I followed a friend who joined before me. So this is somebody that I knew that made it in and has been making a difference, and I wanted to join as well and try to make a difference.
Right.
And I think the skill that I'm trained in is hacking.
Yeah.
I think this is a very like brainy individual who is very much into computers and stuff like that. And the two that he wants to learn, though, is use of the space between and grace under pressure.
Ooh, we have somebody who doesn't take the heat very well, it sounds like. Great. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the more straightforward answer of I was once committed to an order of novas and I left because I lost my closest comrade. And I think that the detail I'm going to add there is the damaged but functional Astra blade that I have is not mine. I did have one, but I think I'm not sure what happened to it yet. But the one that I keep hold of is the comrade who I lost. And I think that might change my principles, actually. I'll have to take another look at that. Yeah, okay. I think I know at least the principle burning a hole in my heart is to take responsibility for your actions. And I think that's related to like me moving from the front to the back. You know, there was a a part of me that was like, I considered it unjust in some ways to kill from afar. I was like, I want to be in touching distance of anybody who I take out. And so I feel a little bit like I've abdicated responsibility for like taking a different, further away position, but it is it is necessary in some way, which I think actually does mean I'll go with the principle that I'm abiding by is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm like, hey, sometimes you got to get out of there.
So for the principle you have broken and one you will not break, the one I will not break, to only kill those with a weapon in hand. The one you have broken, loyalty to those who have helped you in the past.
Ooh, okay.
And then one thing you sacrificed and one you're fighting for. The thing I sacrificed, the chance to live a different life. And the thing I am fighting for, the lover you left in order to protect them.
Ooh, are those tied? When you say like the life that you gave up, was it with that person?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I think like we said, like the realization is that like you're gonna die at the end of this. Like.
Yep. Cool. So it sounds choices, like we are. Sorry.
I said these were tough choices, though.
Yeah. Sounds like we might be ready to do some relationships, some NPCs.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I've got mine.
Go for it. I'm still like reading these like 4 times because my brain has like decided to not intake any more information.
That's fine. Okay, so the 2 relationships. The first one I chose was my daring fellow convert who joined before me. So this is the friend that I followed to the liberation. And I think they are part of the intelligence pillar. The 2 moves that I got for daring for them would be propose an exciting and overcomplicated idea and gain a token, and then invite someone to do something dangerous and give them a token if they say yes. I think that sounds like a fun combo there. And then the other relationship would be my Maverick ex that I abandoned to leave my past life.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think they might be tied to the Parliament.
Oh, okay.
And the Maverick part, one of them would be ask what here is more complicated than it seems and gain a token. And then encourage someone to pursue their own interests over other obligations and give them a token. So I think this is somebody that I had abandoned in terms of they encouraged me to follow what I needed to do, even though they were heartbroken about it.
And what was the big change? Was it you getting more actively involved in like sort of general like action and that kind of thing? Like if they're also part of the liberation, what was it that was the big change?
I think location.
Okay.
I think I followed my friend that had come before me.
Yeah, that's cool. And that also like gives us there's a great mechanic we're not gonna touch that I sort of mentioned earlier of in Galactic and in Going Rogue. If we hit the stretch goal, there are like places. There's like a place generator. And I like that we've already talked about like 3 different locations. Which is really great because it in actual gameplay it would like give us a lot of different set pieces to go and explore and that kind of thing, which is always really helpful. Okay, all right. I think I've got mine. One is my faithful former comrade. So this is somebody from the Order of Novas that I left. And their moves are spend a moment to reflect or pray and gain a token, and ask someone what do you believe and give them a token. And this game does have all of the other pillars that we defined, so this person would almost certainly be space between pillar. And then the other one is the vengeful client whose job I abandoned. The Knight Errant has a very much like a little bit of a gun for hire thing going on. And the move that I'm giving them is arrive at the worst time for someone and give them a token. And I think what this is this is somebody who hired me. I thought they were hiring me to do like violence, essentially. Like I thought that I was being brought on to do bodyguard duty. And then we got to the site and it was clear that they were asking me to do some space between stuff. Like they like figured out my history and wanted me to come and like, you know, commune with an ancient text or something rather than just being a bodyguard. And I was like, absolutely not something that I do anymore. And I just pieced out. And they didn't like that and have continued to make it a problem. And they're going to be...
I can imagine.
Scum and villainy.
All right. I have picked a cynical superior officer. Is I'm going to go with question someone's sincerity and give them a token. I'm going to say that's intelligence.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a spy and it's my superior officer. Seems to make sense. I picked a trusting contact I can rely on for information. What did I want for? Follow someone into a risky situation and give them a token. I don't know where to put this person. I'm not sure. I'm open to.
What was the relationship again?
It's a trusting contact I rely on for information.
Oh.
I think scum and villain sounds interesting. Like knowing that there's one person you can trust there.
Well, but my other relationship is the gossipy criminal who always has what I need.
That's true.
And that one I picked.
I mean, they could be mandate. Like it could be somebody who either is a double agent or is somebody who's in the mandate, but you could trust their information without necessarily trusting them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and the point to it, like that person is trusting. So I assume that they trust me.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think we'll do mandate for that one. And then
that
like
sounds
I said,
pretty juicy, yeah.
The gossipy criminal who has what I need. Where did gossipy moves go though? I want to go with start a rumor about someone and give them a token.
I love that.
I just think that sounds messy.
I
want to point out that I did not give myself another ex because I already had a lover that I left in order to protect them.
Yep.
So I wanted to, though. I just want everybody to know that I really wanted to.
I think every playbook has an X option, which is so important to me. So good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. With that, we can do our questions to each other.
Ooh.
And I know what I want to ask.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. I'll start with the spy.
Okay.
How have I impressed you recently?
Ooh. I think I viewed you as somebody who was like just like a little bit too like wide-eyed and excited about the mission and everything, and I was like, okay, like wait until you've been here for and then I just didn't think that you'd be able to like do the hard work of things, and then I think that you like brought me a piece of information or something that you'd like overheard, or you'd listened and like watched in a way that I didn't think that you would be able to, because I thought you were just like a little too excitable and new, and like I didn't think that you had that kind of patience and understanding.
Yeah.
And so I was impressed that you could pull that off despite all of the things I thought about you.
I also like that it has nothing to do with my like core competency of hacking.
I mean, it could be like it could, because like I mean, there's plenty of social engineering and things that can be done with hacking.
Oh yeah,
and,
I mean that's fair.
Like
a lot of people don't consider that hacking, but no, that makes a lot of sense. Hacking the social construct to get information and into places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Was that good?
That's really cool.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then for the Knight Errant, why are you willing to give me a chance to prove myself?
Ooh. Huh.
I don't know if this would play with my wanting to learn how to use the space between or not.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. It's maybe it's like I was really ready to like write you off, and then there was some sort of like magical energy. Like I saw you without even meaning to interact with the space between in a very specific way that showed me like, oh, you're attuned to this in some sort of way that I don't even know if you know yet. And so I think that it's not only that I got a little interested in like, well, let's see what this kid does, but I think it also very specifically with prove myself, it's like I am now like I could maybe teach you some of this stuff, but I have to know that you're going to do it well and you're going to like handle that responsibility properly. So it's not only like I'm willing to let you prove yourself because I see this potential, but I am also specifically asking you to prove yourself. And if you do that, then I'm like, maybe we'll like explore this thing together.
I like that.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
How did I put you at risk recently? And were you angry about it?
Oh, what if it was a matter of we had to get into a secure area, and to do so, the only way was to do that social engineering sort of bit. And it was the secure area had some computer systems that we needed to hack our way into. So we could only send one person in. We had to send me because I had the skill set to get the information we needed.
Yeah.
But you sent me in to socially engineer my way into that secure area.
Okay.
And which was like a very dangerous situation for my character because I don't have those skills. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And handling pressure is not my strong suit. So it was extra dangerous for my character to be in a situation like that. I don't think I was upset about it at all. Probably scared the whole time, even though it was ultimately successful.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was more a relief and a little bit of pride being able to push through that he was feeling.
All right. Let's see here. For a knight errant, what lie did you catch me in, and how did it make you feel?
Ooh,
that's really good.
Can you remind me your the principles and the like? Can you remind me of your two the detail choices?
Oh yeah. So my principle that I've broken is loyalty to those that have helped you in the past. And the one I will not break is only kill those with a weapon in hand. And then the thing I sacrificed is the lover that I left. And then the thing I'm fighting for is the lover that I left. And the sacrifice was the chance to live a different life.
Yeah. I wonder, I think the thing I want to pull on there is the loyalty thing. Like the idea that it's you lied about like not knowing somebody or having never been somewhere or something like that, where you were like, no, I don't know, like tell me about it. And I, in some way that I'll think of in a second, like I know for a fact that you did work with those people, and the fact that you're willing to like, ooh, maybe it's even like we're having a discussion about like a group of people and whether they like are dedicated enough to the cause, and you refuse to defend them even though you worked with them because it's just more convenient to you to like to not to have it go the other way. And I somehow, I know, maybe because I know that group, I'm the only other person defending them. And like, I realize in that moment that like, you are willing to just very conveniently forget. That they did kind of thing.
Yeah. I like that.
I
like being a little bit of a slippery snake.
Yeah. And how did it make me feel? I think hilariously, I got it. Like, I think that it frustrated me a little in the moment, but only because I was like confused about it. But one of the things is like, I have the principle burning a hole in my heart to take responsibility for your actions. And I have the principle I abide by, which is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And so I might do the same thing that you did. And so I think it frustrated me for personal reasons, but it also gave me a little bit of a like connection with you, or like a grudging respect of like, yeah, that's probably a good call. So it's like,
yeah, those are complicated feelings because you're like, I don't really want to admit that about myself, but also like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Cool. Okay, and I will turn right back to you and ask, what did you do that inspired me to fight alongside you?
I want to say that like there was a time where like I want to like, what is that? So like, what were your principles?
I abide by when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and to take responsibility for your actions is burning a hole in my heart.
Okay. I think there was a time where, because one of my principle that I will not break is only killing those with a weapon in hand. So I think there was a time where like we're in a very risky situation, and like the easy, quick thing would have been to just kill somebody. But I like took the time to, work around that, subdue them or whatever. And like very like firmly stood by the fact later on that like, yes, I know it took longer. I know it made the risk bigger. I like, but like when questioned about it later on, like, why didn't you just do the like quick thing to like get this done and make sure that, everyone got out safely and like it was over? That was like, no, this is like, like that's the thing. Like I took responsibility for the fact that like, you're right, I might have made it go worse, but.
Yeah, that's really cool because I think that's both like that respect of like, you're doing something that I just don't feel the capacity to do anymore. And also I think there's an aspect of like, you being willing to do that makes you a safer comrade for me, because I don't want to take the bigger risks. If you're willing to take the bigger risks to stand by your principles, that's great for me because I don't want to do it. And so it's both like a genuine personal like, oh, that's awesome. And also a sort of like cynical utilitarian like, whew, that's weight off my shoulders.
Yep.
And I think for the convert, this might be too straightforward, but I think I'm just going to ask, what do you admire about me?
See, the easy answer would be like your connection to the space between. But I think it's more that you're able to see and accept people for who they are, and accept that they can still help even if they have limitations.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I really like that because I think that is not something that my character, it's not a way that they would describe themselves.
I was just going to ask that. Like, is that something that you know to be true about yourself? Or is that one of those, like, from the outside looking in? Like,
I think if anything, it's something that, like, I almost see it as a weakness of, like, I'm not discerning, or, like, or sometimes I'm like, am I, like, I just see the use in everyone. Like, I just look at people and I'm like, oh, here are the ways that you could be useful to me. And I think of it very cynically. And so the idea of somebody being like, wow, you actually see that all sorts of people can be helpful in different ways is like, oh, that's a really positive way to
like,
label something that I really don't like about myself.
Like, I love your belief in people.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I like that a lot.
Me too.
Okay, and I think that's everything. I think we have our crew.
It's tragic that these three are going to die.
Yeah, it's really too bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. I love all of these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that we have like two really cynical people too. And then like this one, like bright-eyed. Sweetheart. Oh, I named my character Helia Bite.
Oh, I love that.
I love that name.
Yeah, that's Star Wars. Shenry. Shenry Embelin. I know that it's Star Wars because I just typed letters and then autocorrect was like, do you mean Henry? I'm like, no, but it is Star Wars that you would think it's a regular name, but it isn't. So let's go.
Mm-hmm. It's galactically close.
Mm-hmm. Gosh. There's a lot of potentially good names out there. I want a name that is good for somebody that has a lot of potential.
Mm.
Right?
I mean, because you can always just do the Star Wars thing and be like, this person's name is Potench.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then a last name. Let's see. It's another good, like.
Okay, yeah.
Potench Bright.
Oh my God, yeah.
Potench. Spelled how it sounds. Yeah, I think I'll go with Bright for lack of better ideas and time. I like that though.
Potench Kintech, so that it could be like potential and kinetic.
Ooh. I love that.
And you know
this
what?
This one was just vibes. My previous one had like meaning to it. This one was just like, that sounds cool.
My nickname is Sparks.
I love it.
Amazing. We made people. We made a lot of people.
We did make a lot of people.
We made a lot of people in an entire galaxy.
It's true. Do we have to, are we going to keep our like space between and mandate pillars the same as we did in last game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. This was really cool. I cannot wait to get to the fanfic for these groups and see how we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, Satah, thank you so much for going through multiple character creations with us for Galactic and Going Rogue. I love what we've done here, and I love how messy it is.
It's very messy.
It's so good.
It's so great. It's so great. Do you want to remind people where they can find you, where they can find the Kickstarter for this?
Ooh. Well, you can certainly find me online on Blue Sky at posatachips.gaygothvibes.online, or you can check out my work generally at gaygothvibes.online. You can listen to my multi-guest solo actual play podcast Folio at foliopod.card.co. Has a bunch of links to different platforms and social media and that kind of thing. And yeah, the Kickstarter for this is happening now, and probably one of the best ways to find that is just to look up Jumpgate Games on Blue Sky. You can find them at jumpgategames.itch.io. That's Jess's sort of like publishing imprint. And it will certainly be linked all over there. So yeah.
Yep. Also check our show notes because we'll definitely have it in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be posting about it online in various places too. So
absolutely.
I'm excited.
Well, thank you again, Satah, and thank you to everybody else for listening. Please join us on the next episodes for our discussion block. Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
I cannot wait until you get to the discussion series. The last episode, I believe, of the series a couple weeks from now. That covers the fanfic for these games, because doing both of these character creations back to back and building up off of one another was a true joy, and we get into some really fantastic fanfic because of it. So stay tuned for all of that. I'm really excited for the series. I really love how it panned out, and I hope you're enjoying it. So we do have a few calls to action. So before we let you go for the day, let's get to those. First up, if you are enjoying these games, you can check out the Galactic and Going Rogue Kickstarter at the link in our show notes. They have 2 weeks left as of the release of this episode, and it would be really cool if we could get them to their big stretch goal for a whole extra supplement for Scum and Villains. There's also quite a few other stretch goals listed out there. I would love to see if we can get as far as we can on that, because this game is phenomenal, as we keep saying throughout this episode and this series. Speaking of helping folks get to major goals, Our network, the One Shot Podcast Network, is having a Patreon drive later this month. I'm sure there will be dynamically inserted ads coming soon to the feed, so we just wanted to get this event on your radar. There will be a lot of live streams planned for the event, some great goals that will be set, and it will involve many folks from all over the network. We really hope you'll join us for their festivities, which I believe is spooky in summer vibes. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll have more information as it comes along. If you'd like to help us out specifically, there are a few ways you can do so. We would love it if you could check out the C3 Patreon at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. If you are able to help us out, it would allow us to do more for the community and for the show itself. Right around the corner, we'll have more free time to create some more bonus content to make it more worthwhile. But for now, we could definitely use your help. If we do get to that $160 a month, we will hire someone to do monthly webpage updates to our site at charactercreationcast.com, which will include adding information to pages dedicated to all of the games that we are covering on the show going forward. Also, at this level, we'll create a unique enamel pin for all of our campaign level backers and maybe get some extras for folks that join up in the level or at that level in the future. We are only 2 campaign level patrons away from that goal, so it's not very far away at all, and you can help us get there. If we can get to $200 a month, not only will that unlock yearly subscriptions for our supporters at a discount, it will also mean we can afford to pay this person a bit more every month to update the backlog of games on our site that we just haven't had time or energy to get to at all. This level is only 6 campaign level backers away, and it would be remarkable if we could get there before the end of the summer. Joining at the campaign level means you get new stickers for every month you are a patron, a set of 3d6 C3 branded dice that are really great quality from ChessX, a personalized thank you card from the both of us, handcrafted by Amelia herself, as well as many other perks. This is all for $10 a month and will go a long way towards helping provide a one-stop shop for any of the games that we cover on the show. We also have tiers at the $5 and $1 levels that get you various perks as well. So head on over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast to get all the info. We also like to thank our current patrons every episode. Your support truly helps out a great deal. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Lieutenant DJG, aka Tyrannosaurus, and Eric Bonds. You're all the best. Thank you. Daryl Holiday II, Shadim Cabal, and the Shyest Barbarian, we appreciate your support. Thank you. Benjamin Sweeney, Rob Fletcher, and Kevin Brown, we are so grateful to all of you. Thank you. Thank you to Tentacle Duck, John Adamus, and A3 Sketchpad. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you to Cole McCallum, Carlos Salazar, and Eric S. Your support brings us so much joy. Ian Potmeyer, Liam G, and Brian Colm, you all rock. Thank you. Garden GM, Tanglefoot, and Blue Kryptonite, we appreciate your support as well. Thank you. Danny, Nicole Trainer, and Liam Murray, thanks for your continued support. We appreciate your support. Kenning, Brian Kurtz, and Mark E. Fair, thank you. Drew Owen, Oz, and James McKinley, we can't thank you enough, but we'll keep on trying anyway. Sean Metcalf, Robert, and Kevin Bates, thank you all so much. And Deadly Edley, we are so grateful to you. Thank you. And thank you to all of our future patrons. If you want to join this phenomenal group of individuals, please head on over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast and help us out. We are currently past our operating expenses, so we have that covered, but with more assistance, we'll be able to make those website upgrades to make exploring your favorite games that much easier. And finally, if you want to join in the discussion with our hosts, some of our guests, and a bunch of fans, head on to our Discord at charactercreationcast.com. In addition to all of that, if you want to help us out in another way that doesn't require any money, you can leave a rating and review for our show on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or Podcast Addict. We will read every new 5-star review as we get them, and as we both have a chance to record together. We noticed a couple of new episode ratings on Podchaser from listener Tentacosaurus, and we just wanted to let you know that we appreciate them very much. Thank you. That's all we have for today's episode. Join us here next week when we get into the first part of our discussion series. Until then, take care everyone, stay safe, drink some water, may the space between be with you, and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at CreationCast, or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, exclusive merch, and much more at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.